And today we are very fortunate to have Jean-Marc and David from Zeiss to talk to us about these new lenses. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to you guys.
Good. Yeah, thanks everybody for attending. Yeah, so super excited to talk about the new added lenses in the Zeiss Cinema family, the Aatma Primes. Okay. Yeah, so Aatma, we announced these lenses at BSC Expo in February, and we are, super excited that, just these lenses are bringing some new flavors in the Zeiss family. So the name Atma, you may have read about it. It's really a way to express that these lenses have their own characteristic, their own features. It's coming from the Sanskrit, and it basically means, in a most essence, self, soul. So they have basically their own personality. They are just, there to capture the image, but also, to capture like a sort of, feeling, a sort of essence of a story. Uh, so we have built these lenses really to be like just a part of a tool that the cinematographer can use for their own creativity. Uh, in order to get these lenses into the market, we really talked to a lot of people before. And as you know, like Zeiss lenses are really renowned for their look, for their sharpness and consistency. But we know that modern cinematography, especially when using a digital camera, is a shift from more like sharp and clean lenses to more like character and texture. So we have seen a lot of people using the super speed to their look. So that was one of the inspiration behind these lenses. But we want to kind of improve. We wanted to improve kind of a way with super with the perform, especially a large number of vintage lenses are very popular, but they have some mechanical issue because they are old and built a different way. The consistency in the look and the texture can be very different. These lenses were really not built for creating like a texture, but that was kind of part of the design that just ended up to be kind of popular right now. And of course, the numbers of lenses available for a single set is pretty limited. If we take the super speed, for example, it's only 5 lenses. So you have a limitation in terms of the way you can just use them on a project. So the legacy of Zeiss, we have a long legacy of building lenses for cinema. And we have different type of design we are kind of using for the Atma. The first one is a planar. Planar was introduced more than a century ago, basically at the time of the birth of cinema, 1896. And give a nice sharpness with minimal distortion, and have a lot of been used on a lot of our legacy lenses. The sonar is another design which give you like a full soft focus transition. And they have been around for almost a century, also, as they have been designed in the 1930s. And the Distagon, more just recent design from the 1950s, really used for wide angle lenses for wide angle design, with a beautiful landscape look, nice close up, and give you like the versatility of using a nice wide angle lens for telling the story. So the feedback we got is really wanted to create just a set of new lenses with character for the most popular format of cinema, meaning Super 35 and full frame slash VistaVision. We didn't want only to focus on the kind of the full frame format, but also having kind of like bringing texture on Super 35. We know, for example, the Alexa 35 is very popular. Even like the classic Alexa Mini are very popular. So you can use these lenses not only to give character with full frame camera, but also for Super 55 camera. Uh, Bringing a look from a Zeiss legacy lens to modern cinematography was very critical. Having a large number of focal lengths, so they can be used for large format project, TV series, feature film. Uh, Consistency is probably what is going to be the most attractive to these lenses. Each lens has been designed to be really consistent from V18 to 135. So that really helped the cinematographer to create his look and having the look baked from the beginning and not having to kind of play with in post-production to kind of try to match the lenses or from one to the other in order to make sure the look is nice and consistent. And of course, the mechanics is very precise, very reliable. So this, which is very important for using them in on a set. And we have metadata. So metadata is becoming more and more popular. Using of metadata for post-production is really a key features on modern lenses. So we wanted to implement that on the new Aatma primes. So I'll give you more details on these lenses, 9 lenses, set of 9 at the moment, covering full frame slash VistaVision format. So covering for all of them around 46.3 millimeter image sensor, basically the V-Raptor XL format. They're all with a consistent T-stop, T15, so super fast, give you, good way to use them on a low light condition, but also they can be used, for creativity using, shallow depth of field of a T1.5 in order to be creative with depth of field. Uh, as I mentioned, consistent look, so inspired by the super speed, rich bokeh with a gentle soft bubble, so the bokeh is very kind of pleasing and artistic. Smooth and vibrant focus transition, so basically you don't have kind of like this kind of harsh cut when you're in focus and out of focus. You kind of like go it very smoothly, which is very pleasant to the eyes. And of course, the fact that they are very easy to work with, reliable, and that really helps the focus puller to really perform his work very easily. And of course, they are compact and lightweight, so that really also helps cinematographer to use them on different kind of way, Steadicam, handheld, crane work, whatever is needed. But the fact that they are really compact and lightweight is a big plus also. They are PL mount, so compatible with the most popular mount available, and they have a real reliable mechanics. And service-wise, they are very kind of easy to service. And the last thing is the extended data. So we have a metadata, the slash I technology, but also the what we call extended data that add the shading and distortion in the data. So you can really get a lot of information for your VFX or virtual production. And they are compatible, of course, with our camera tracking system. So you can get the data and plug to our camera tracking system scenario and use them in front of the LED wall, in front of the green screen, and just you record the data in order to track the content. So some frame grab from a video that was made by CVP, which is a very beautiful video they made when they tested these lenses in London a few months ago. So as you can see from the top left, the rich bokeh, the texture in the background, kind of like, this kind of image you can see on, like a movie like Train Dream that has been awarded for an Oscar that was shot partially with a super speed uh, in order to really create this kind of like look, this smooth look, this rich bokeh that give you like a sort of impressionist texture on the image, but also pleasing on faces, pleasing on the actors. They give you a nice texture, they give you like a smooth rendering, but they are not like completely detuned. They are really kind of sharp in a way of giving some details on the face or on the subject you have in front of the camera. Yeah, another project we supported was a project shot in Versailles last year, at the end of last year, on the Sony Venice 2. So it's a documentary, but kind of like a period project. The DP, who is a good friend from New York, went to Versailles and shot for 2 days. They couldn't bring a lot of light, so having like a lens with just a fast stop, having some texture was very critical for that project. And you can see the rendering on the face of the model on the bottom right. It really gives you like a nice texture, a nice and smooth bokeh in the background with a staircase or the window, and really very appealing look. So very interesting to use on faces on people and give you like a very appealing rendering like the one you have with a super speed for sure. So in terms of characteristic, you can go on a website and get all the details for the lenses, but basically they are very light and compact. All of them are most of them are just above 3 pounds. Even like the 50, which is a little bit in the lighter side is 2.7 pounds. The extreme one, the 18 and 135 are just at 5 pounds. So they are very nice and compact. They share the same T-stop, as I mentioned, T15. They have a nice cross focus. The smallest one is the 25, which is at 10 inches. So you can really basically focus right in front of the lens. Yeah, the front diameter is 95 for most of them, except the extreme one, which are 114 for the 18 and 135. And in terms of price, we try to stay competitive. So basically, we are just above 200,000 for the mid-range and 25,500 for the extreme one. And if you get a set of 5 to 7, you get to 6, you get a discount of 7%. And if you get 7 to 9, you get a discount for 10%, which bring basically the average price is around $20,000 each. Um, what what kind of project can be shot with these lenses? So they are high-end, they are high-end product, of course. So perfectly usable for what we call large format TV series feature film. First, we have a total of nine focal lengths. So basically no limitation in terms of kind of numbers. You have a large selection of lenses for covering your full project. The consistency of a look is very critical. We really kind of spend a lot of time in optical design to really make sure each lens will look the same and will be similar in terms of bokeh, in terms of sharpness, and color rendition. The fact that they are precise and reliable mechanically is also critical for when you shoot a big feature film, when you shoot a big project. And having, of course, the metadata can really help the project for post-production or if you have a lot of VFX or if you have like you are shooting in front of a LED wall or in front of a green screen. Uh, we can be used also for independent work, commercial, music video. They have their own character, they have their own kind of running of the skin tone. So they can be really uh, just a great product for, uh, if you have kind of piece that requires some texture, some creativity in terms of look. And of course, the what we call the auteur cinema, the indie cinema, will be very pleased for these lenses. One of the projects we supported here in the East Coast in Boston was is called Deluxe Ocean View, shot in Cape Cod. I was a couple of months ago at Talamas in Boston, and a DP was prepping next to the bay where I did the test, and he tested the 35, look at it with the director, and really kind of fall in love with the look. So he used the 35 for that feature that basically was shot with super speed and Aatma 35. But the Aatma 55 was such an added value on this project that basically he used the lens for the majority of the takes because it really gave him like a way of creating the look, but also the way of using it on with a modern camera setup, motors and everything was really a big plus versus the super speed, which were not real lenses. Okay, so that's it for my presentation. And David and I are really open for question. I know some of you who are in the kind of in the presentation have seen the Atma, but we have these lenses available here in the US, and we are, if you want to test them, we're happy to really have them in your hands. In terms of delivery, we are just starting shipping them. We had a couple of like urgent projects in Asia and one in Mexico that require to have them, in the hands of the directors, in the hands of the rental. I'm sorry, by mid May. So they are going to be pretty soon on the set. And, for other people will start shipping probably in kind of other focal lengths, other lenses in early June. So they will be pretty soon in in Atlanta with a commander that have committed to a set. And I don't know if Mark is in the call, but I know that he wanted me to mention that he will get his set sometime in June, so you can have access to them if you don't have them on your own, and just talk to Mark, and he will probably be happy to give you give you his lenses if you have a project for the Atma. Good. David, do you have anything to add on the presentation?
No, I think you covered most things. I think naturally what people will ask and will want to see is how they compare directly with super speeds, but also supreme primes. I think in terms of the way that it's built mechanically and the way that they handle in a modern context is very similar to Supreme with a look that's inspired by super speed, which I think is something that a lot of DPs have been looking for from us for a very long time. The demos that we've done so far in Los Angeles and at shows like NAB with high-end cinematographers, they've all been really excited about the look and how close it is to super speeds. A lot of people were surprised, of course, because of the legacy that Zeiss has stemming from a lot of our recent lenses like Master Primes and Supreme Primes. And even some of our smaller lenses like nano primes, we're known for creating a very sharp, very modern look. I think people thought we were talking a big game in the early press around this lens, but once they actually see it, they do see just how close they are to super speeds, especially in the out of focus areas, which I think is where a lot of people are trying to create a unique look to their image. Every DP wants to put their own unique stamp on everything that they do, and I think in the out of focus areas, in the background, and also in the foreground, these lenses do have a very particular texture that is, yes, inspired by super speed, but also very unique. One of the things that it does separate from super speeds in terms of is chromatic aberration. Chromatic aberration is a large part of the look of super speed, and it won't be for this lens. So you get the spherical aberration that people enjoy from lenses like super speed or even contact Zeiss lenses without that chromatic aberration. It does beautiful things to large highlights. People love to shoot at big windows nowadays and get like nice bloom off the edge of large sources. These lenses will absolutely do that. But yeah, I think we're excited for anybody to get their hands on them. The feedback has been truly overwhelming, refreshing from the team.
Yeah, I can say, I joined Zeiss 4 years ago. I think we joined almost at the same time, David and I.
Yeah.
And, when we kind of put our hands in these lenses, we were very, very pleased with, the way of they look. Every time we do a test, a demo with, some of you guys have already played with them, but DPs, as I say, this, DP from who tested them in Boston, Andrew Upshur, he just was like, this is the lens I want. And as soon as he did the test, he basically sent me an email the day after when he showed the footage with his director and say, I want the lens next week on my project. What can you do? So that was, super excited, and I was very happy we were able to help him and support it. And he really thanked us a lot because he said, he grew up, with the super speed. That was his basically first lens he used after being graduated from his film school. I think he did USC, or yeah, based in LA. And he just, he remind me of the look of a super speed, but in a modern body, in a more consistent kind of look, and really it helps such a lot of the way the project was run through a short period of time. They had only like 4 weeks to shoot, and he said it was like a great, added value on his lens package because he can really just trust the lens and get the look right away and not having to kind of deal with some mechanical issue or chromatic aberration issue, all kind of things that you have when you use vintage lenses. So yeah, so very refreshing. Yeah, for yeah. So this all really lenses to. It's not another kind of like copy of a copy. It's really like a new lens, new design, inspired by the super speed, by legacy lenses. And we really did a lot of effort to train our optical designer to really make a lens that doesn't perform as kind of the best, because the optical designer are really always trying to push the limit in terms of, sharpness, MTF. And it took a little bit of time for them to go through a lot of lens tests and say, no, I'm not trying to get the best of the sharpness, but trying to get the best of the texture, what is really pleasing on some of the vintage lenses that can really perform very well and create a very unique, create a very kind of unique kind of can I say that just feeling on the story when you use them in a proper way.
From the lens technician standpoint, is it new training for them or what is it?
Yeah, yeah, we need to have a training, of course. We had just Simon, who basically came to to the Lens Summit and train the technician at Able Cine, and he was also in Atlanta last week, if I'm correct. He had to also do a training with a commander and HD House, and it's yeah, the body is very similar to the Supreme, so that's really not a big deal. And most of the optics, you are going to replace the front or rear element because they get scratched or something like that. So there is no uh, kind of like no particular kind of like extensive training. If you know how to work on a master prime, on a supreme prime, you get the you get the training pretty easily. And we will run some of the training, I'm sure, in the coming years. Simon is coming usually at least once a year in the US to do a tour and to offer training. Usually we do with our partners at Able Cine.
Being that we do a lot of rental house outreach, I'm at rental houses quite often. We do get that feedback a ton. People are often looking for a little more character, which is why you see a lot of the vintage lens use in the market, especially at the high end. And that was, I think, the feedback that we were ultimately responding to when we set out to make this lens. Supremes are still very popular. They sold very well at the when they came out because of a need for sharp, consistent glass in full frame. But I think for a lot of narrative work and largely now for a lot of commercials, even commercials are starting to shift towards a more characteristic look. I think DPs, especially responding to the fact that DPs are kind of being pulled away from some of the post aspect of setting the look for things that they're making. Lenses are a way that they can still bake in a very unique look, and they were reaching for vintage lenses and softer lenses and more characteristic lenses to be able to do that. And I think Atma gives them that choice from Zeiss while also leaning on some of our history with creating high performing, consistent, but also physically robust lenses that rental houses can feel safe investing in and having multiple sets of for a long period of time.
Yeah, I guess if I can jump in, yeah, the character also depends on the project, and you have to really think about just how you to achieve a character. Of course, we have seen in the past 10 years a big shift from film to digital. Then now if you look at the top movie that basically won the Oscars this year or the past year, they were mostly shot on film, and which mean like people are looking for something different. The digital is a great media, but sometimes people have this nostalgia of looking at a different texture, a different look, and we we can achieve that with the Atma. Really, for example, like Train Gym, as kind of mentioned before, they basically Adolfo Veloso really decided to shoot digital because they were in a remote place. They wanted to shoot like we have having freedom to kind of like go with the actors and really recording a lot of takes, not so film was kind of like difficult, but he used lenses with character in order to really achieve that particular look, and that's why kind of a super speed was part of his package. So just having a story that can carry that is important. Using lenses with texture with character is really a beautiful way to tell a story. And it's not, it all depends on the project. Like you look at, for example, like a TV show like The Madison, shot in kind of a wood in a beautiful landscape, whatever. They shot with they are shooting that piece with think of the Premista zoom and and the Supreme primes because they want the look to be appealing to kind of like crispy and nice. But other projects are really looking for more texture, more more character. And I think it was important for Zeiss to respond to that, not only offering like lenses that have been built 40 or 50 years ago and just let people use them because they are there, but we know that the super speed have their kind of limitation, not only for 5 lenses. We are not covering full frame mechanically. The front is kind of zooming out of a lens, so you can really put like a clamp on that. But so building a new set based on that DNA, based that design, but building them for modern cameras, building them for just creating some consistency in terms of look. We know like a lot of cost of just of a project can go to post-production just to fix the kind of the flaws that you have during the shooting. Now the DP can really trust his lens, can really use it and can use it in a way of not having to spend a lot of time and a lot of money to fix some or try to match everything in post-production. So this is how we kind of like pursued that new project, uh, adding adding some value into a new set of lens that create like a pleasing look on faces, but also some texture on the bokeh that really can be part of the image, can be part of the story. Anything. So we will have, of course, them. We'll be at Cinegear in a few weeks. We will have them during the event, and we are also, take just the advantage. We are also going to bring our new 65 millimeter primes, the Panoptis that were announced at the time we showed the first Aatma at BSC Expo. And we'll have also some new product. I can't really tell you a lot about that, but we are going to host an event at our showroom, LA showroom, on Tuesday, June 2nd, and give you some beautiful kind of beautiful products that are going to be kind of like also part of the one we are going to have showcased during the expo at Cinegear.
I would say only that in testing them, we were very impressed. We loved the look. And as you may remember, we did a side-by-side comparison with the super speeds. It was very impressive, very beautiful. And we're just excited to be have made the decision to jump into them and are looking to partner with other rental houses for moving sets around, as we have several customers that tend to take 2 to 3 sets of something on the same project. So please reach out to Commander if you're involved and when you commit to a set.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, no, that was I remember the test we did with I think with Alex 35 and the super speed 50 millimeter was very, we kind of ended up to be very close in terms of look, in terms of texture, in terms of, that was really convincing. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Jean-Marc and David, for doing this for us today. And thanks everybody for coming and joining us. And we'll see you soon in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for